to Alleyways, the experiential audio network.
Black Rifle Coffee. It's a fantastic coffee.
Come on, baby. Just skip those ads and let's make out.
No, Chad, that's Joe Rogan's main revenue stream. If we skip the ads, he won't be able to.
Baby, don't be such a square. We can just skip those ads.
Chad, you're acting crazy.
Move out of the way,
Chad,
bitch.
Chad.
Looks like the perp choked himself to death.
Not before slicing the poor girl's head clean off.
Those goddamn teenagers. They're out of control.
Hey, Adam, look at this. An iPod.
Jesus. Another skipper.
You wouldn't steal a car. You wouldn't steal a TV. Skipping ads on a podcast is stealing. And stealing is a crime. Don't be a... Sorry about that.
Don't let your mobile phone ruin your listening experience. Switch off your mobile. Or, if you're listening to this on your phone, turn it up.
Welcome to my review of Bournemouth Travelodge. So, as you come into the room, you've got this large wardrobe space. You've got 6 hangers. A bit stingy, but I suppose it's only for me, so that'll do. Right, it's around 2 a.m. and I'm in the bathroom here. There's a crack in the sink there. Looks as though something heavy got dropped on that. It's Mac. It's 3:20. I can't sleep. So I'm taking a little stroll down the hallway just to relax a bit. There's actually a screwdriver here, which might come in handy.
The special resonance of Bournemouth Travelodge. Now on Alleyways.
Some of it, it's just regurgitating the past, and that's not healthy.
Success. It's a funny thing. Like a drug, the more of it you taste, the more you need. Adam and I arrived in New York City in 1983.
Gentlemen, welcome to New York.
Right? Slap bang in the middle of Wall Street.
Lost the fucking market.
Donald Trump is here to see you now.
Who?
Yeah, to be somebody. That's all I ever wanted, really.
So I'm just doing my trading thing on the side. My main passion is my music, man.
But Adam, this geezer was in his element.
Is this what success looks like to you? Bobby, we're living like rats.
By the mid-1980s, we were doing so much cocaine, we needed our own supply.
Think you can play with the big boys?
All right, calm down.
When it's all there for the taking, who can blame us for getting it?
I need more.
This shark fin is not fresh.
Mate, stop.
Yeah, we had to play to win.
Rob and Adam in. Destination
space.
The upcoming program contains immersive audio content that is best enjoyed with headphones. Are your headphones in front of you? Good. Take a moment to put them on. Great, you're doing it. But are they on correctly? Let's do a test. You should now hear a sound in your left ear.
I love you.
Good. And now you'll hear a sound in your right ear. Okay, you're all set up. Please enjoy the show.
Hello, this is Miles Burton Reeves. It gives me great pleasure to introduce to you this omnibus edition of my landmark cooking show, A Feast for the Years. At the time when we made the show, we had no idea of the enormous reception it would receive, and of how much it would come to mean for a whole generation of food lovers. Well, I perhaps had some idea, but we also had little idea of the backlash and controversy certain episodes would generate. But as they say in the kitchen, it's impossible to make an omelette without breaking a few eggs. I digress. Without further ado, please join me as we sit down together once again to enjoy a feast. A feast for the years. Episode 1, Miles to Go.
Oh, I wish you could see this. Hello, I'm Miles Burton Reeves, and as you can probably tell, I am in Tuscany. But why, I hear you ask? Why, Miles, are you in Tuscany, and why can we not see anything? To answer that question, we must go back. So I've just come out of the offices of one of my producer friends, where I've been pitching him a really exciting idea for a new show. It's going to be called Miles Around Europe, and it will be a food tour, where I get to visit all my favourite parts of the continent, eating, drinking, and visiting Europe's idyllic vistas. But unfortunately, he just told me that they don't have the type of funds for these kind of programs these days. Apparently, you need an edge. But I had a brainwave. Come on, hurry up. Where's the bloody gate? Now, a young friend of mine had told me a week earlier about something called podcasts. Unlike TV, you don't need all the expensive crew and equipment. So I set out with my sound man Gary, alone from the bank and a tingle of excitement, on a new voyage, the first of its kind, a voyage in sound. Where shall we go first? Now, those that know me would probably describe me as something of a Europhile. Ever since that first school trip to La Beau France all those years ago, I've just been gripped by European culture. The joie de vivre of the people, the dedication to fine quality food, the vibrancy and the ingredients that are used, and most of all, the supremacy of its wine.
Excuse me, sir, you have to turn the electronic equipment.
Righto, sorry. Jolly good. So where was I? Oh yes, flying off, leaving our drab British Isles behind, and heading for European climes. But where to begin? As this was to be a voyage of culture, where better to begin my journey than the birthplace of the Renaissance, the land of Dante and Verdi, where art, life and food intermingle effortlessly. That's right, Italy. But on this trip, I'd be skipping the pompous, stiff restaurants of Milan for the rustic charms of rural Tuscany. I was headed for Montepulciano, which you may recognize for its wine, but more on that later. Now, the town is accessible via train from Florence, but I thought I'd take the more scenic route. Now, this beats the drudgery of the A1 northbound. There's really no better way to experience Tuscany than to take a drive through its winding roads and caress the gentle rolling hills. And the view is just, well, indescribable. You'd really have to see it for yourself, I suppose. That's a shame of not having a camera around with us on this trip. But if you use your ears and your imagination, you might just find yourself right there. I'm standing on this wonderful hilltop spot, overlooking the medieval town of Montepulciano. It truly is quite a sight, standing proud on top of these rugged, picturesque hills, rather like being in a romantic landscape painting. It's barely changed since medieval times. In fact, one could be forgiven for thinking that the modern world hadn't happened at all. Indeed, truly wondrous. Although I suppose you're going to have to make do with the sound, which doesn't quite do it justice, I suppose. Oh well. Music, maestro. That's better. Now, Montepulciano is surrounded in all directions by vineyards, and its main export to the world is its famous vino nobile. There's a saying in Italian, non ti mettere in cammino se la bocca non sa di vino. And that means, never start your journey if the taste of wine isn't in your mouth. So I decided to go underground, into the honeycomb of wine cellars upon which this town is built. So I'm here with Roberto, and he's a local wine producer, and he's going to show me what mysterious secrets they're keeping down there.
Sì, ciao Miles. Today I'm going to show you something very special. Please, follow me.
Now here in the wine cellar, we were deprived of our sight, just as you are no doubt back home. But I realised that my other senses had begun to heighten. My taste buds, in their yearning for wine, could pick up the earthy notes of the many wooden barrels. It was damp and terribly cold. And unfortunately, my Salman Gary had neglected to bring a jumper. But the show must go on. So, tell me, Roberto, what do we have here?
So this is the Vino Nubile Montepulciano. We have here the barrel, where we age the wine.
Fantastic. How long might one typically age this wine for?
So for a normal wine, we age for 2 years. For the Reserva, we do for 3 years.
Fantastic. I'm just going to try a drop of that here. What do you say again?
Saluti.
Well, saluti then. Absolutely fantastic. Now tell me, Roberto, do you need to start growing the grapes like here? Unfortunately, due to the damp conditions down in the cellar, Gary's sound equipment started acting up.
Montepulciano. They give the body special flavor. And his flavors that come natural.
I remember my father left incredibly sad and still miss him today. Finally, poor Gary could take it no longer. Spoil sport. So he rose, blinking, into the afternoon sunlight. Now, with wine on my lips and a rumbling in my tummy, my thoughts began to turn to food. And where best to experience the incredible produce of Tuscany than in its markets? So off we went. Now, this truly is a sight for all the senses. Look, over there. The rows and rows of fresh produce. And here, tomatoes, just bursting with colour. Now, follow your noses, my friends. Over here, there it is. If I'm not mistaken, this must be the Taleggio cheese. That pungent aroma is unmistakable. Now, back home, of course, this market stall would probably be a Greg's. And we'd probably be eating something dreadful for lunch, like beans on toast. But, oh, look over there. Truffles. Absolutely delightful ones, too. And it's given me an idea for something to make. A tagliatelle al tartufo. Now, these truffles are the perfect size, and we need to be careful with them that we get the correct size for truffles. Look at these. They are perfect. Any larger, and you start to lose the intense flavour, and nobody wants that. Any smaller, and they wouldn't be ripe enough. You can end up with a dicky tummy, as well as a bitter taste. I'm going to take 2 of these. Grazie. Sorry, I got rather carried away there. It turns out the sounds of Italy are a little more chaotic than the sights. But bear with me. For now, we will cook. One of my favourite writers, D.H. Lawrence, once said, lemon trees, like Italians, are happiest when they're touching each other. Indeed, this dense lemon grove here provides a perfect shelter from the afternoon sun. Today, I'll be making tagliatelle al tartufo, pasta with black truffles. And I'm going to be using these gorgeous truffles that we selected from our market earlier on. Terrific. I wish you could smell this. It has a deep, luxurious profile, which really does tickle the taste buds. Now, look at this. Look how it cuts. That truly is a sign of fantastic quality produce. We begin by adding a generous slab of butter into our pan. Now, we don't want to add too much butter, otherwise the strength of the butter will compete with the wonderful aromas of our truffles. If we do that, then our dish is going to be ruined. Next up, we add a generous amount of thinly sliced garlic to our pan. Have a whiff of that. That is absolutely delightful. Now, add our wonderful fragrant truffles that we bought from the market earlier today. Have another smell. You know you want. Now, for the pasta. Today, I'm using tagliatelle, which is a traditional choice of pasta. Its surface area beautifully absorbs the rich, creamy truffle sauce that we have here. Now, as always in Italian cooking, you mix in the pasta into the sauce. After that, we want a little grating of black and white truffles, a hint of Parmesan cheese, and a little grind of black pepper. What a beautifully simple dish. It's a class above its English counterpart, the fried mushrooms on a full English breakfast. I mean, can you imagine serving this type of dish at a motorway service station on the M4? I can't either. With my stomach full and my head dizzy from the sun, not to mention the delicious wine, I decided on a walk up to Montepulciano's Museo Civico, the municipal museum. Now that would be the perfect digestivi. A healthy serving of art and culture, the side of light exercise. I am standing in front of a painting of a Madonna with Child by Massimo Badia a Isola. This truly is a breathtaking piece, which reminds me of my own personal...
please, no talking, no making the noise.
I'm terribly sorry, I'll keep quiet. Now, this particular piece is quite mysterious. The master of Badia a Isola...
Allora, scusami, signore, no making the noise!
What a day. I decided to take it all in and enjoy a last glass of wine on my balcony. The sun was setting over the land and on my sojourn to Italy too. With happiness in my heart, I reflected on my experience. You know, I love to imagine what this town would have looked like 1,000 years ago. It was founded in the 6th century by the people of Cusi, who were fleeing the barbarians. And I have to say, looking at this magnificent view, I can certainly relate to that. You know, doing this show with sound has been a lot trickier than I'd have imagined. Now there's the rub, imagination. I know if you use yours, you'll be here with me. The golden, rolling Tuscan hills seemed to never end, and the stretched out land spoke of adventures for another time, places yet unknown. Though the sights soothed me greatly, I closed my eyes and began to listen. I imagined I might just hear the church bells of Santa Maria dei Servi wishing me well on my journey. Unfortunately, the church was destroyed in 2008. So Gary, our sound man, added bells from a different time and a different place.
Extra, extra, read all about it.
Episode 2. Homage to La Rioja. Can you tell where I am yet? The vast blue skies? The ochre-coloured earth? That's right, you guessed it. The tiny province of La Rioja in northern Spain. And this is wine country. They say that a great way to explore the rugged terrain of this particular region is by bike. Oh, Jesus. Over to our left is the Rio Ebro, the second longest river on the Iberian Peninsula. Just look at it. I wish you could see this. The landscape here has a rough, untamed beauty. It stirs the blood, it invigorates the senses, and it gives rise to passion. Oh, God! Okay. I'm not the world's best cyclist, but I do know a thing or two about wine. And where better to add to that knowledge than here at the rustic Bodegas Marquez de Viejo. The family here have been winemakers for generations, and you know what? I'm really excited to meet them. I just hope my Spanish is up to scratch. Hola, mi nombre es Miles Burton Reyes.
Hello, welcome, Miles. I'm Francisco, and this is Carmen, my wife.
Hola, ¿qué tal?
Francisco and Carmen, so great to meet you. Funnily enough, when I first heard your name, I thought of Francisco Franco. You see, I must not have met enough Spanish at home. I had a chap named Raul once work at my restaurant.
Right.
Pot washer. Nice chap.
Okay, if you just put your bags over there, and this is my...
As my gracious host brought me into the villa, I have to say my mind was racing ahead to all the lovely wines I'd be trying. I just love Rioja. The roundness and structure, the dominant cherry notes with that fruity, zippy edge. Oh, I wish you could see this. The view from here is classically Spanish. The crumbling bodegas and the pilgrim churches dotting the green and brown terra. The smell of hot earth and stone. Over there, past rows of vineyards, their berries swollen in the late summer, lies the Rio Ebro, the river that we cycled past a little earlier today. Oh, Jesus! Now, the history buffs amongst you might remember that name from the Battle of the Ebro, a major flashpoint of the Spanish Civil War. I feel like I'm following in the footsteps of one of my personal heroes, George Orwell, who came here to fight in the Spanish Civil War on the side of the Republicans. He said, "I have the most evil memories of Spain, but I have very few bad memories of Spaniards." Well, I hope to have good memories of both. I wonder if dinner's ready yet. Now, dinner's about to be served, and of course we're going to be having these little plates, or tapas. Over there, I can see some chistorra, which is chorizo with sweet paprika and some garlic. Just have a whiff of that. And over there, I can see the navajas, the razor clams served with... look at those peppers and the vibrant colours. They're amazing. Just listen to this. Now, the wine they're serving here is pretty special too. It's a Gran Reserva Rioja, which has been aged for 2 years in oak. Don't mind if I do. Thanks, Franco.
It's Francisco.
Francisco, I'm terribly sorry. Estoy muy embarazada. Whoops, I tell you, the wine must have been getting to me. And unfortunately, things only got worse. And actually, one of the things that people forget about Franco is that he saved thousands of Jews in the Second World War. And worse. And on the nationalist side, your biggest losses actually came after the war, because you had to let the Germans exploit your mining resources. And worse still. Outlawed the CNT Union, serious repression of dissidents. The PCE went bloody underground.
Miles.
Yep.
You know, nowadays in España, try not to talk about the Civil War.
Right, yep. Absolutely, mates, absolutely. Time for bed, I think. Waking up the next morning, with Gary our sound man dozing beside me, I began to have some regrets about the night before. So I decided to make amends in the only way I know how, by rustling up some delicious cuisine. Come on, Gary, hurry up. Let's go. Oh, I've just come down into this kitchen here, and I've got to say, what a perfect place to cook. I feel so bloody stupid about last night, so I've really just got to do something about it. So I'm going to make a lovely cod with a Riojan tomato sauce. That should make everything a little more cheery. Come on, let's go. I start by crushing a decent chunk of garlic and adding it to the pan with a glug of olive oil. Now, when the pan starts to dry up, I'm going to add a nice dash of this Rioja here. Chop your tomatoes, quarters will do. Now, the tomatoes from this region...
Excuse me? Excuse me?
Morning, Carmen. We're just rustling up
Did you ask before using my kitchen?
Well...
No, listen. Did you ask before using my kitchen?
No, sorry. I'll pack up, shall I?
No. You carry on. But be fast.
Righto. We'd better get a move on. Place cod in an earthenware dish with hot oil. So usually we'd be using chorizo and pepper flake, but I'm going to skip that and put it all together now. And finally, it was ready. Riojan-style cod. Bon appetit. Or should I say, buen appetito. Well, what do you all think?
It's very nice, Miles.
Thank you, that really means a lot. And just like that, everything was better. And that, for me, is the power of food. It brings people together. And perhaps that's why they love cuisine so fondly in Spain, a country previously divided by a bitter civil war. And later on, drinking that famous Gran Reserva on the veranda, life just seemed so gentle and sweet. But unfortunately, things took a turn for the worse when one of the children discovered a tape from Gary's kit bag. They're always taking breaks, aren't they? If you ask me, they're all a bunch of bloody paella munchers.
I let you stay in my house and you use my kitchen without asking even once!
Now things really were bad. I needed to get out, fast. And luckily, I knew a way how.
Come on, Gary! Pedal! Pedal! Why did you get this
bloody tandem! I knew I'd be back, but maybe I'd get a hotel next time. Episode 3. Things best left to the young. Picturesque windmills, sprawling tulip fields, quaint candlelit cafes, and a very relaxed attitude are the building blocks of these liberal lowlands called the Netherlands. Now, it's going to be a bit of an adventure this time, and I've had to bring my life jacket with me because I'm on a real Dutch barge, sailing down the canal. Ahoy! We're going to be setting sail from the capital, Amsterdam. We're going to be winding our way along the canals of the Dutch countryside. And boy, am I excited. I really love how tranquil it is on the water. Oh, I wish you could see this. The slender facades of the waterfront houses huddled shoulder to shoulder to watch me pass by. Written on their many pained faces, a story of a golden age, a time of reason, a whisper of tales from the high seas. But of course, I'm here for one thing: food. And wine if they have any. Now, what's that I hear you say? A food show in Holland? You must be crazy. But hold on for a minute there. Whilst admittedly the Netherlands isn't renowned for its food, there is more to the Dutch cuisine than mild cheese. There's schnert, the traditional Dutch pea soup. Stampot, a colourful vegetable mash. Haché, a hearty beef stew. And Indonesian food. All over the Netherlands, they have these lovely little stalls selling these beautiful soused herring. Proper Dutch street food. It's raw preserved herring, which has an intensely strong flavour. I can imagine back home, my neighbourhood chippy would smother these in a thick batter and toss them into the deep fat fryer. But these are incredibly fresh, right from the ocean. This is delicious. Such a strong flavour. Lovely texture. Much better than fish and chips. I wanted to sample real rustic Dutch cuisine. So we're leaving Amsterdam now as our voyage takes us not to sea, but into the countryside, passing windmills gently turning in the breeze, quaint little villages, and rows of vibrant tulips as far as the eye can see. If you come with me, I'm going to introduce you to the crew of this vessel. Over there is Matthijs. He's the captain. Hello, Matthijs. And over here, this young man is Robin. He sort of does everything else round here, don't you, Robin?
Yes, I suppose I do, yes.
Tell me, Robin, where might I go to find some delicious Dutch cuisine?
Well, in the Netherlands, we have quite simple food. You know, we have the meat, often served with the potatoes. Cheese is good.
Oh, right.
Mouse, I don't suppose you'd believe me if I told you this, but I actually have one of your recipe books.
Did you hear that? He says he has my cookbook. I never... Do you use it?
Yes, I do. The potted shrimp is one of my favorites. It's quite spectacular.
You know, I really get on with Robin. Despite the fact that we come from completely different worlds, we just seem to share so many of the same sensibilities about food, wine, and, well, life in general. He just gets me, and I'm really enjoying my time with him. I just hope that our sound man Gary was able to get some sleep. There's a morning view. Now, if you hadn't guessed by now, I'm at the top of a windmill. I must say, they just look so gentle from the distance. But when you're right up here, it really is quite special. The mill's mills here aren't just for show. This one's a working mill, and I have Bente here. She works here. Bente, can you tell me how this thing works?
Ja, natuurlijk. De reden waarom we windmolens gebruiken is omdat in het verleden deel van Nederland onder water stond. Daarom gebruiken we
Unfortunately, I didn't have a translator with me here in the Netherlands. I always assumed everyone speaks perfect English here. But seeing as both languages share a common root, Dutch is a cousin of English after all, I'm sure you'll be able to pick up a word or two. Gary, our sound man, will make sure a full translation of this conversation will be available in the episode description. With my limited understanding of Dutch and a few crude hand gestures, I managed to signal to Bente that my stomach was rumbling. And I was in luck. Bente has a little shop here in the mill, selling that most famous of Dutch desserts, apple tart. Or apple tart to you and me. Now this is just a classic dessert. And as I climbed down from the mill, I thought of Robin, the deckhand back on the boat, and whether he might like a slice. Now, I have to say, standing here with the mill behind me and the rows upon rows of dazzling, multicoloured tulips in front, I couldn't be anywhere more Dutch. I half expect for Bente to come out with my apple tart wearing clogs. Oh, there she is. Is that for me? I really think he's going to like this, actually. Marvellous. There you go.
Dankjewel, Dewey.
What a perfect apple tart. Beautifully crispy dough on the outside, generous filling on the inside, and that tantalising smell of cinnamon, freshly baked dough, and cooked apple. Heavenly. I might have finally found it. The real Dutch cuisine. And I was excited to get back to the boat and share it with my new friend, Robin. But unfortunately, no adventure is complete without calamity. I really think he's going to love this, actually. I really hope he does. But come on, Gabby, hurry up. I hope he's still there. Oh, no! Oh, for goodness sake, I dropped it! Oh, it's bloody ruined. It's ruined. And just like that, disaster had struck. Robin's apple tart was splattered all over the towpath, and so was my special surprise. But then I remembered that other Dutch delicacy, Edam cheese. Robin did mention to me how much he likes the cheese here.
You know, we have the meat, often show for the potatoes. Cheese is good.
Now, the best place to buy it is in the traditional cheese markets, where farmers bring their wares by boat and sell them on the side of the canal. But unfortunately, the market only takes place on Mondays and Wednesdays, so I had to make do with a quaint little cheese shop in the village. Yep, that one. Yep, 100 grams, please. And with that, my mission was done. Tired and weary, I made my way back to the boat. Under my arm, a packet of cheese, a token of friendship.
Oh, hi, Miles. What's up?
Ah, Robin. How are you? Are you okay?
Yeah, you know, just chilling.
Right, great. Robin, I've brought you some cheese. I hope you like it.
Oh, very kind.
No. Don't mention it. It's not worth saying.
Well, thank you. Thank you well.
Robin, I was wondering if you could take me to a restaurant tonight. You see, I've really been trying to get a handle on Dutch cuisine, and I think that you have the expertise that I really need to help me do it.
I'm afraid I can't, Miles. Not tonight.
Oh.
I'm going out to party tonight, you know. So.
Right. Yeah. Gosh. Well, sounds exciting.
Yes. It's actually super cool. Yes.
Perhaps it's not my thing.
Yeah, it's a super cool club. You know, it's house music. Lots of cool guys. I don't know. Maybe it is your thing.
No. It's okay. Thank you.
Well, if you change your mind, it's in Liedersplein. It's called Flame Bar. You should come by.
No, it's fine. Thank you. And just like that, my trip was coming to an end. I was still no closer to discovering the mysteries of Dutch cuisine, and maybe I never would. Travel is a strange thing. You take a glimpse at lives you will never live, at worlds you can never know. In my hotel room that night, sleepless from cheese and gripped by a sudden urge, I rose out of bed and headed out for one last adventure.
Put your arm, please, buddy.
All right.
Do you know what kind of place this is?
Yes, it's a disco.
You sure this is for you?
Probably.
You're coming in or not?
No, forget about it. Well, you know what they say. Some things are best left to the young. For me, it was back to the boat to finish up the rest of the lovely Edam cheese, stopping off via the shop for a bottle of wine. Or two. Episode 4. Bitter Sweet Memory. Austria. A country waltzing with grace between bustling cities and majestic mountains. Now, it might be home to a sturdy alpine people, but they know a thing or two about refinement. This is the land of Wienerschnitzel, the devilishly chocolatey Sachertorte, voluptuous apple strudels, and of course, lovely mountain schnapps, all of which I'm hoping to sample on my visit. As well as being the birthplace of Europe's sweetest desserts, Austria is also the birthplace of so many people that have changed the face of the continent and the world. Beethoven, Tesla, Freud, and of course, Mozart. And what better place to start our visit than the Franciscan church in the heart of Salzburg? Now, the 10 o'clock mass here is famous the land over for its music, and I was just so excited to hear it. Unfortunately, no sound recording is allowed during service, so our sound man Gary had to stay outside. Now, that was a real advert for church, actually. Now, I'm told that whilst we were inside there's been some kind of almighty downpour. But for us faithful, huddled inside, we were drenched in nothing but incredible sights and sounds. It was a real treat for all the senses. I'm starting to get a really good idea of what it is that makes the Austrians such a noble people. But the Austrians are religious about something else too. Beer. And with the sun now beaming down upon us, we headed straight for the nearest beer garden. With its long tables bursting with the ambience of a Renoir painting, this place is just teeming with locals of all ages, making friends, sharing simple dishes like the Wienerwurst, a limp sausage that's ultimately succulent, or the Schweinebraten, a lovely pot-roasted pork. And of course, all this is washed down with a lovely cold beer. The atmosphere here is inclusive and friendly, and with the long sharing tables outside, it encourages conversations with a stranger or two. Unfortunately, the beer garden was booked out for a private birthday party, but the barmaid was kind enough to offer me a small table inside, where I could enjoy a drink on my own. Dankeschön. As you can no doubt tell, I'm on a train here. I'm heading out of the hustle and bustle of Salzburg into the beautiful countryside. I just love trains. I find that it's such a romantic way to travel. I know it's a bit silly, but I find myself just looking around the carriage, wondering who might I meet. The trains in Austria are much more friendly affairs than the dreary commuter trains back in England. And you're always likely to strike up a conversation or two with fellow travellers. It's a sound program, you see. No camera. Sound, like radio. You know radio? Oh, hello. Where are you from then, young man? Oh, shy? Oh, he is really shy. Oh, no problem at all. We'll just move on. Danke. So, of course, in those days, the scholarship boys were in a separate house, so it was all a little bit less, you know. But now, of course, it's so different. What's that? Oh, I see. Yes, I'm rather tired too. Hello there. Hello. Oh, he's a bit grumpy. But move on. Thank you. Bye. After filling up on good conversation, my mind began to turn to dessert. And of course, this place is home to one of my favourites, the famous apple strudel. And I will be sampling one soon, at the mountain lodge that was to be my bed and breakfast. I couldn't wait. As they say here, der Berg ruft, the mountain is calling. And so was my sweet tooth. In the lodge, nestled in the incredible mountain region of Tyrol, I met my host, Sabine. A strong, powerful woman. I found her hammering away at the dough for her speciality, the beautifully flaky and sweetly spiced apple strudel.
The Austrian people are very strong, man. Very passionate people, yeah? But we are like the strudel. On the outside, we are protected. But on the inside, we are sweet and juicy and warm people, yeah?
Yes, I see.
I think, man, you are a little bit like the Austrian, too. You must try my filling. Here.
That's yummy.
Here.
Oops.
Little bit on your chin, yeah?
I wish you could taste this. Really rather delicious. Beautifully sweet and perfectly spiced. Really almost makes your toes curl.
Yeah, that is the secret to the strudel. You must feel the pleasure as you make it.
And I could definitely relate to that. I must say, I could almost feel Sabine's passion and the pleasure she takes in baking with every bite of her warm, sticky strudel. Always served, of course, with a large side of schnapps. Prost!
Austrian people, Tyrol people are very much appreciating pleasure. Mountain is pleasure. Schnapps is pleasure, yeah?
Yes, I see.
Mal, it is a saying here. After dinner, there is strudel and schnapps. And after schnapps, there is hot spring. You must join me for a dip.
What a better way to relax after a long day of travelling than in a steaming hot, natural thermal bath with a few lovely glasses of schnapps. Natural hot springs are common here, and Sabine is lucky enough to have one on her property. Shedding off my clothes and my lapel mic, I settled into the hot water for a nightcap with my lovely host. Oh, is it hot? Oh gosh. I'll just lower myself in gently.
Feel good, yeah?
Yes, it is rather good. I must say, what a lovely farmhouse you have here.
Thank you. Here, you take this.
Don't mind if I do. Prost.
Prost?
Well, thank you for your hospitality.
Oh, man. We are very hospitable people. You must know. It gets very lonely here on the mountain. You must meet so many people in your traveling. You are very popular, no?
You'd be surprised. One does tend to feel quite lonely.
You have the sound man, no?
He's more of an employee. I can't really...
Oh, man. You are always looking very stressed, very intense. Would you like me to give you a massage?
I'm not so sure that that's a good idea.
Please, Miles. You must enjoy. You must relax, yeah? Come on, Miles. I won't bite. You see? Gentle. Very gentle.
No. No, I want to get out. I want to get out. I must go to bed now. It's really getting rather late and I've lots of things to do tomorrow. I really had too many schnapps. One more glass in my mug. Thank you. And so it was that, bleary-eyed and with a slightly sore head, it was time for me to leave this enigmatic country. Rushing to catch my train at the crack of dawn, I hadn't even had the chance to say goodbye to my host. And later, looking out at the lonely mountains passing through my carriage window, I found myself ruminating on the fleetingness of life and the choices we make. Like the last bite of a strudel, one moment it's here and the next it's gone, leaving behind nothing but a bitter, sweet memory. Episode 5, Tales of the Desert. Morocco, the exotic land of spice and sensation, the gateway to the Sahara. In this desert land, the stifling air always holds the whiff of mystery, the scent of adventure always around the next corner. A place where rogues, hustlers and thieves search their fortunes in the sprawling Medinas, where intrepid traders haul their wares across the vast desert, and entertainers ply their trades in an intoxicating mix of confusion and chaos. I'm heading to Marrakesh, the bustling city of souks and snake charmers, of mosques and merchants, perhaps to find my own fortune amidst the heat and dust of this enchanting city. I'd better have my wits about me. This place isn't for the faint-hearted. You know, there's nothing quite like this. When you arrive at the airport here, you're immediately overwhelmed by the absolute bedlam going on. It's a real assault on all the senses. Now, let me see if I can find my way to the Medina.
Please, my friend, come
Hello?
with me. Taxi, very nice.
Does anyone speak English?
Hello, taxi, Medina, come with me.
The taxi drivers here are ruthless negotiators, but I managed to agree on a price with one of these chaps, despite the language barrier. A quick ride in one of these rickety old yellow taxis is a real introduction to the hustle and bustle of Marrakesh. And I'm starting to feel like I'm in... Excuse me. I can't find my seatbelt. Hello? Driver? I can't find my seatbelt. And of course, no transaction is complete around these parts of the world without a good haggle. You said 200 dirhams, no?
No, what 200? I said 500. I'm very busy today. No, 500.
Okay, yeah. Here you go.
Shukran.
As I arrived at my riad, dripping with sweat and dizzy with exhaustion, I felt relieved to arrive in this oasis of calm. I'd be staying with my friend Denis and his family, French artisans who've lived in this area since the Protectorate. But more on them later. After all, I couldn't just stay in my comfort zone of European sensibilities. The best thing to do in a place like this is to throw yourself in at the deep end. So I headed out to the souks on my quest for the authentic Morocco. Now, French colonial rule in Morocco ended in 1956. And to be fair to the locals, they've done a pretty good job with the place since.
Come look carpet.
No, thank you. Now, I've come here with my guide Mustafa, and jolly nice he is too. Now, these can be purchased for the equivalent of about £20. And that's pretty good value. Come on, Mustafa, lead the way.
Yes, sir.
The way he weaves through the crowds really is impressive. So nimble. God knows how he does it. Now, we're heading to the main spice souk, and I've been told that it's not far away, but we've been walking absolutely ages now, and,
Chip, you'll not have to...
No, thank you. No, I'm not interested. Thank you. As we weave through the never-ending labyrinth of the souk, I have to say that I began to wonder where he was taking me. Would I end up whisked away on a camel, or in a back alley face-to-face with some rogue? My mind stirred with dreams of adventure. And then, all of a sudden, there was a blast of incredible colour, and I was there, in the spice souk. My senses reeled from the incredible sights and smells. Well, this is just intoxicating. All around me are piles of vibrant colour. I can see the vivid reds of saffron and paprika, the deep ochre of cumin and cinnamon, and a dash of turmeric, the colour of desert sands. Oh, I wish you could see this. And the smell. Oh, let me tell you, I've never experienced anything quite like this. Come on now, let me get my nose in there. You can tell that this is the real deal. Not like the mass-produced, plastic-wrapped, low-grade imitations you find in the supermarkets.
No
What's he saying, Mustafa?
You cannot touch. He is saying, please do not touch.
Ah, trying to cajole me into buying something, eh? Not for me. No, I'm sorry, not today. Oh, what's that over there? Well, I was like a child in a sweet shop, I can tell you. My mind raced ahead to all the dishes I might cook with such outlandish ingredients. But a few twists and turns led us into another world, the carpet souk. Now this is a place you must come to if you want a souvenir. All around me are intensely coloured carpets with rather exotic designs. I wonder if any of them fly. Now, these carpets are individually hand-woven with real incredible skill. They can be purchased for a good price if you know a thing or two about haggling. We're just heading into the carpet seller's shop, and I feel like Alibaba. Open sesame! Luckily, I had the wily Mustafa with me, and he knew how to get a good price.
He is saying $500 best price.
Right. Well, that sounds reasonable. That's a good price, yeah?
Yeah, very good price.
Right, well, there you go. Oh, gosh, we better head off now. Phew, after all that shopping, I rather needed a drink. But unfortunately, Morocco is a dry country. Its majority Muslim population don't take too kindly to booze. But I had a hunch that Denis might have a bottle of cognac or two stashed away at the Riad. Now, how to find my way back? So, Denis, tell me, what are we eating here?
Well, Miles, this is the tagine, a very popular Moroccan dish. You can find this all over the country.
Wonderful. And I suppose you must have been cooking this rather a long time?
Yes, our chef works very hard. We have the best chef in the country. My wife personally teaches him many French dishes, so we only take care of the wine.
Jolly good. Well, my compliments to the chef then. Where is he?
We don't like to bring him to the house. We like to keep the area separate, not to mix.
Right. Well, as you can probably hear, everyone is using cutlery, but I'm going to do as the locals do and use my hands to eat when in Rome. Now, you must make sure that you wash your hands thoroughly after using the lavatory. Bon appetit. What is it they say here?
I don't know. We say bon appetit, so it's okay.
Very well. Bon appetit. it was certainly delicious. Now, full of exotic flavour and tired from the day's adventure, we huddled around the dancing lights of an oil lamp and whispered tales of the desert.
When we first came here, there was nothing. No infrastructure. Total chaos. The French, we built the post office. Before we come here, they barely know the post office.
That's fascinating. And I suppose it must... Good God. What is that?
That is the call to prayer, for the Muslim.
Fascinating. God, would you listen to that? I wondered what they were singing about. Whatever it was, it must have been pretty important, at least to them. Lying in my bed that night, a little sozzled from the wine, but elated from the day's escapades, I thought ahead to tomorrow and the promise of more. But unfortunately, as is often the case in places like this, disaster struck. Gary, our soundman, had failed to wash his hands after using the toilet and was now victim to that most foul of travellers' perils, a dicky tummy. There was no helping him. He was riddled with it. But the show must go on. What follows is pieced together from the surviving recordings I had made, alongside interpretations of events based on my handwritten notes. Please. Excuse me? Please, let me go past. No, I don't want to buy anything. No, please, leave me alone. No, I'm not interested. No, I don't want to come this way. I must go this way. Do you speak English? Oh, let me pass. Come on. No, very kind, but no. But one earlier.
English, hello, my friend. You want camel tour?
Camel tour? What?
Camel tour, you come.
Can you get me out of here?
Yes, no problem, my friend. You come.
Where am I? Where are you taking me?
He said camel tour, my friend. We go desert now.
How did I get here? It brought me here. Please, I'll do anything.
Please, my friend, you relax. Smoke this.
What is it, please? I'm not
my friend, you smoke.
We take you to the desert. You buy.
I am Miles Burton Reeves, and I am an infidel. Where am I? What is this place?
This is Hammam. It's okay, you bath.
Wait, why am I naked?
Just bath, my friend. You wash, it's okay.
Don't look at me! You keep your blasted eyes off of me!
My friend, hello. You speak English? This is mosque. You are naked. Get out! Get out of here! Allah, get out!
No idea how this happened.
Mr. Mile, are you okay?
Oh, it's you! Mustafa, you saved me! I was captured by ISIL.
Mr. Mile, you are very confused. You are very confused.
Thank you, Mustafa. You saved me. Please, take my watch.
Mr. Mile, I don't want the watch.
No, please, it's yours. Just get me out of here. So it was that, bruised and humbled, I found myself at the airport waiting room. Sitting down on the surprisingly clean seats, I reflected that when one sets out in search of adventure, well, you must be careful what you wish for, because it might just come true. Episode 6. boulevard de mémoire. There is an old saying by some wise soul, now long forgotten. It goes, we travel not to escape life, but for life not to escape us. I am Miles Burton Reeves, and this will be my final journey of the current series. On my travels, I have feasted on the bounty of Europe, seasoned with a dash of North African spice. But now, for the final stage of my tour, I've come back to the place where my love of food began, the veritable centre of the gastronomic world. I am, of course, in France. I remember first coming here on a school trip. At that time, sheltered by boarding school life, I really had no consideration of France at all. In fact, I could probably speak more Latin than French. But we came here to Bordeaux, and it was in this great city on the River Garonne that I had my first taste of haute cuisine in the form of foie gras. And later, in my schoolmaster's study, my first sip of that famous Bordeaux wine. The Bordeaux I found in my school days was a place of strange new experience. It was there in that port city that I found myself opening to the world. Looking out across its skyline now, I find myself searching for that place. Its many spires still just visible, a dark outline through the Garonne mist. Well, the past is the past, and what is travel but the search for new experience? So I'm heading out of Bordeaux on a new culinary adventure to a foie gras farm. I remember how that first taste as a boy revealed a world of delight to me, so I'm interested to find out how it's produced. I've got to say, I'm quite excited. I'm glad you can't see this. Crammed into tiny cages, the many birds here are being force-fed through a metal tube. They tell me that the process will fatten the liver of the birds to 10 times the normal size. I have to say that it is quite difficult and barbaric to watch. In France, over 40 million ducks are killed in the production of foie gras each year. That's enough to fill 25 Olympic-sized swimming pools. Might just pop outside, actually. After taking a short break outside, we made our way to the farm's shop to interrogate the owner about this gruesome practice. Now, I've just been speaking to the owner here, and he's given me a sample of foie gras to try. I'm just going to put a bit on as pâté on this crusty baguette. Oh my. Oh, incredible flavour. That is so delicious. So rich and silky, deep and complex. I'm going to have to buy a few boxes of this. Our ears still ringing from the cries of the ducks, we headed up the road to the Chateau Pape Nicolas. Yes, I know we visited vineyards in Italy and Spain, but this is a Bordeaux region, and no trip to France would be complete without sampling its wares. Now, I'm with Tony here, and he's the owner of this vineyard. He's actually an expat who's been living in France for nearly 30 years, so he knows a thing or two about this particular region. Well, we've been sampling some of the wines here, and you'll have to take my word for it that they are excellent. Just look at the fantastic colour. Now, Tony, you must have been living the absolute life of Riley. Fine food, fine wine, fine weather. Tell me, Do you ever miss England?
No, I dare say I don't miss it at all.
I don't think I'd miss it much either.
The quality of life is so much higher here. I always found in Britain there was such a lack of basic understanding about food.
Yes, it's unfortunately so. Your average man on the street just doesn't seem to have the
I'd say, as a rule, British food is just terrible.
Well, you know, some things have changed in the last 30 years, and you will find some quality food in the cities now.
Like what, fish and chips?
Well, no, there are some good restaurants who do a decent take on traditional British food.
I'm sure, but nothing that can't be bettered here.
Well, perhaps, but just to play devil's advocate, there's a certain idiosyncrasy.
Oh, come on. You're a chef, right?
Yes.
So let's be objective. In terms of quality, French produce is just on a different level to English.
Well, that may be so, but there are still independent producers.
Ask anyone that isn't English about English food, and what will they say?
Well, I think they'd be looking at...
They will say that it's terrible and flavourless. At best, they will say it's mediocre. At best. So, try this one. This is from our 2010 vintage.
I'm all right.
You don't want...
Come on, Gary, let's go. As we returned to Bordeaux, I reflected that my experience of modern France hadn't quite lived up to my memory. So, for nostalgia's sake, I took a trip down memory lane via the Rue Saint-Remy to the brasserie where all those years ago I'd had my first taste of the wider world. But unfortunately, the restaurant was long ago closed and the area is now being redeveloped. Now, I've just had a word with the workmen here, and they didn't know much about the fate of the restaurant. But apparently, when it's finished, this car park will hold over 250 cars. Pretty impressive. Not to worry, moving down the street, we found a classic French brasserie so common to this area. Unburdened by pretensions, this establishment serves a real French cuisine. Rustic and honest, real peasant food. But unfortunately, we didn't have a reservation, so we wandered off, cold and hungry, into the growing darkness. Back at my rather reasonable Airbnb, I reflected on my trip. I'd been all over Europe and met some strange and incredible characters.
I'll let you stay in my house.
I can't manage, not tonight.
I need to give you a massage.
This is mosque. You are naked. Get out.
It began to occur to me that despite all the incredible places I'd been, the real essence of travel lies in the people you meet along the way. And it dawned on me. There had been one person sharing this whole experience, the joy and the hardship and everything in between. Gary, my sound man. I now knew that before journey's end, I had one thing left to do. Now, he doesn't know this, but I'm going to cook a special meal for Gary to commemorate the end of our journey together. This is a real classic. I'm going to make a roasted loin of veal with the foie gras I bought earlier. I'm just going to put this down here. We begin by chopping the herbs. Now that is thyme and rosemary. Next, we sear the veal in the grill. 4 minutes each side. Now this is the important bit. You must remember to ensure that... Unfortunately, at this point, the battery died. Later on, I brought the meal out to Gary. I just couldn't wait to see the look on his face. Are we ready?
Yeah.
Well, I suppose you're wondering what we're shooting here. Well, I've cooked this meal for you, Gary.
Is this a take or?
No, I've made this for you. It's a roasted loin of veal with a foie gras.
I'm vegan, Mars.
Oh, you never said.
We never asked.
Oh. And so our trip was coming to an end. But there was one more twist left in the tale. So I've just come off the phone with the airline, and they've told me that because of a strike, our flight has been delayed for 6 hours. I mean, that's about as French as it gets. So, Gary, that means we've got a few more hours together. How about it? I've heard of a pretty good vegan restaurant just by the river.
No, you know what? I'm just going to get a ticket on a different airline. I think it's easier.
Right, but the ticket's already been paid for. I mean, you'll have to buy the ticket out of your own pocket.
I'm actually okay with that.
Okay, then.
Yeah, I'll see you in a bit.
Sitting in the departure lounge, I watched Gary's plane disappearing into the night sky. Eventually, it was just a small flicker of light among the few stars still gathered in vigil over the Bay of Biscay. Turning back from the window, I gazed upon the couples enjoying a late dinner in the airport brasserie. Where were they all going? All of these people, as unknowable as the stars, flying off to destinations unknown. And what about me? Where was I going? Where next? All I knew was that I was mightily hungry. Unfortunately, my tub of uneaten foie gras and veal had been confiscated by security. So I sat down and ate my last meal of the trip. A ham and cheese sandwich.
A Feast for the Ears was a production of Alleyways, written, produced and directed by Adam Burnett and Rob Price. Starring Mark G as Miles Burton Reeves, and featuring performances from Adam Burnett, Rob Price, Jon Uriarte, Marka Vilolonia, Avi Burnett, Luca Jobokaita, Christina Penatos, Ilan Burnett, Ahmed Al-Habib, Mustafa Ajami, Halil Marwan, and Adrian Landers. Sound design was by Rob Price. Make sure you subscribe to Alleyways on your podcast app, and for additional content, follow us on Instagram @Alleyways Productions and on Twitter @Alleyways_pod. Thank you, and see you next time.